Hi Reddit, my name's Mark. I'm just a regular guy working in IT, living a pretty ordinary life. Or so I thought. My wife Chloe and I have been married for 10 years, and together we have an 8-year-old son, Leo, who's the center of our world. Or at least that's what I believed until a few weeks ago when everything I thought I knew about my marriage came crashing down. It all started innocently enough. Chloe came home one evening practically glowing and told me about this exclusive party her old college friend Sophia was hosting. She described it as a high-end social event, a networking opportunity, she said. Apparently, Sophia had made it big in the world of fashion and loved to throw extravagant parties to show off her success. Chloe seemed thrilled, but there was something in her tone that didn't sit right with me. She insisted I didn't need to come, saying it would be boring for me since I wouldn't know anyone there. Besides, she added with a sweet smile, Sophia said it's more of a girls' night vibe. Husbands wouldn't enjoy it. I didn't think much of it at the time. Chloe had always been social, and I wasn't one to cling. Still, something about the way she avoided eye contact when she mentioned it raised a red flag in the back of my mind. Over the next few days, her excitement for this party became almost obsessive. She spent hours texting someone, probably Sophia, I assumed, and even went shopping for a new dress, which she refused to show me. "You'll see it when I wear it," she teased, brushing off my curiosity. Normally, Chloe shared every little detail of her day with me, but lately she'd been distant. Too distant. She was always on her phone, stepping out to take private calls, and whenever I asked what was going on, she'd wave it off with, "Just work stuff, nothing to worry about." The night of the party finally came, and Chloe looked stunning. She walked into the living room in this sleek black dress, her hair styled in loose waves, and a bold red lipstick that I hadn't seen her wear in years. She looked like the Chloe I fell in love with all those years ago. But as much as I admired her beauty, that same gut feeling from before nagged at me. Who was she trying to impress? When I offered to drive her to the party, she hesitated just for a second. "Oh, no, that's okay. Sophia's sending an Uber for me. She's already arranged it for everyone." That hesitation wasn't lost on me. Chloe wasn't the type to turn down a ride from a girls' night like she described. I stared at the photo for what felt like an eternity. Why would she lie about where she was going? Who were those people? Who was that guy? I wanted to call her right then and there, demand an explanation, but something stopped me. Maybe it was pride, or maybe it was fear. Either way, I decided to wait until she got home to confront her. Midnight rolled around, then 12:30, and still no sign of Chloe. I called her, but her phone went straight to voicemail. By 1 a.m., I was pacing the living room, running through every possible scenario in my head. Was she okay? Was she in trouble? Or was she doing something I didn't even want to consider? That's when it hit me. I couldn't sit around waiting for answers. I needed to know the truth. I grabbed my jacket and car keys, pulled up the address of Sophia's place that Chloe had casually mentioned earlier in the week, and headed out the door. If Chloe wasn't going to tell me what was really going on, I was going to find out myself. As I drove through the dimly lit streets, my mind raced with possibilities, each one worse than the last. Was I overreacting? Maybe the picture Alex sent wasn't as incriminating as it seemed. Chloe could just be networking, having a good time with old friends. But if that were true, why the secrecy? Why lie about where she was going? The answers felt just out of reach, like trying to grab smoke. Sophia's house wasn't hard to find. Chloe had mentioned how fancy it was, and she wasn't kidding. It was a modern mansion on the outskirts of town, complete with a long driveway and massive windows that showcased the party inside. Cars were parked everywhere, from sleek sports cars to luxury SUVs, but no Uber in sight. My heart sank as I pulled into the last open spot down the street. Was Chloe trying to impress these people? Was she ashamed of me, her nerdy IT husband with a beat-up Honda? As I approached the house, the muffled bass of music thumped against my chest. People were mingling on the front lawn, champagne glasses in hand, and laughter spilled out through the open front door. This wasn't some low-key girls' night. This was a full-blown elite social event. Chloe had definitely undersold it. I wondered how she even fit into this crowd. Sure, Sophia was her college friend, but Chloe had always been down to earth, not the type to rub shoulders with the rich and glamorous. Or at least that's what I thought. I stepped inside, and the scene was even more surreal. The place looked like something out of a movie: chandeliers, marble floors, and an open bar manned by uniformed bartenders. The guests were dressed to kill, and the air buzzed with energy. I scanned the room for Chloe, but didn't see her. "Hey, can I help you?" A woman's voice cut through my thoughts. I turned to see a sharply dressed woman who looked like she belonged on the cover of a fashion magazine. Her eyes narrowed slightly, clearly sizing me up. My jeans and jacket weren't exactly blending in with the designer suits and evening gowns. Yeah, I'm looking for Chloe Miller," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. The woman's expression flickered for a moment. Recognition, maybe? Then she smiled a little too politely. "Oh, I think I saw her upstairs with Sophia, probably in the VIP lounge. It's restricted, though." Restricted? What kind of party was this? I thanked her and started toward the staircase, but she stepped in front of me. "It's invite only up there," she added, her tone sweet but firm. "Guests need a wristband." Before I could respond, a familiar voice floated down from the second floor, Chloe's voice. I couldn't make out the words over the music, but it was definitely her laugh, carefree and unguarded in a way I hadn't heard in months. My stomach churned. I didn't care about the wristband or the VIP lounge. I was going up there. I slipped past her while she was distracted by another guest and made my way up the marble staircase. At the top, the atmosphere shifted. The lights were dimmer, the music softer, and the conversations more intimate. This wasn't just an extension of the party downstairs. It felt like an entirely different world. I spotted Sophia almost immediately. She was perched on a plush sofa surrounded by a small group of people, including Chloe. My wife was sitting next to a man I didn't recognize, her body angled toward him in a way that made my chest tighten. He was leaning in close, whispering something that made her laugh again. That laugh, the one that used to be mine. I stayed in the shadows, unsure of what to do. My rational side told me to stay calm, to observe, to gather facts before jumping to conclusions. But the other part of me, the part that was hurt, angry, and betrayed, wanted to march over there and demand answers. Sophia noticed me first. Her eyes widened slightly, and she excused herself from the group, weaving and catching up with everyone. "You should join us downstairs." I ignored her attempt to steer me away. "Who's that guy she's talking to?" She hesitated. "Oh, that's Daniel. He's an old friend. Really nice guy. Don't worry, Chloe is in good hands." Good hands. My blood boiled. "Thanks, Sophia. I'll take it from here." Before she could stop me, I stepped into the room. Chloe looked up, and for a brief moment her face froze. I can explain. But could she? Because from where I was standing, it looked exactly what I feared. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I wanted to hear her explanation. Chloe's words hung in the air, her nervous smile failing to mask the tension. I stared at her, searching for a shred of honesty in her eyes, but all I saw was guilt. "Explain," I said, my voice calm but cold. "Explain what, Chloe? How your girls' night turned into this?" I gestured toward Daniel, who was now casually sipping his drink as if this confrontation was just another part of his evening entertainment. "Chloe! It's not what you think," she said quickly, stepping closer to me. "Sophia invited Daniel because he's an old friend, that's all." "An old friend," I repeated, my tone dripping with disbelief. "Funny how you didn't mention him when you told me this was a girls' night. Funny how you didn't mention you'd be here at a club instead of Sophia's house." Her mouth opened and closed, struggling for an explanation that wouldn't make her look worse. Behind her, Sophia hovered nervously, clearly regretting whatever role she'd played in this setup. "Can we talk about this somewhere private?" Chloe pleaded, glancing around as if suddenly aware of the curious eyes watching us. "No, Chloe," I said firmly. "We'll talk about it right here, in front of all your new friends." My gaze shifted to Daniel. "Who the hell are you, really?"
Daniel smirked, finally speaking up. "Look, man, I think you're overreacting. Chloe and I were just catching up. No harm in that." The arrogance in his tone made my blood boil. "No harm?" I snapped. "Then why does she look like she's been caught red-handed?" Chloe reached for my arm, her voice trembling. "Mark, please, let's just let go home." But I wasn't going anywhere, not until I had answers. Chloe's grip on my arm tightened, her nails digging into my jacket sleeve as she whispered, "Mark, stop! You're making a scene." I shook her hand, deep breath, trying to regain control of the situation. "I didn't lie, Mark. I just didn't tell you everything because I knew you'd overreact, like you're doing right now." I laughed bitterly. "Overreact? Chloe, you told me this was a girls' night. And now I find you here, drinking, laughing, and whispering with him." I pointed to Daniel, who casually raised his glass as if to toast me. "Do you have any idea how humiliating this is?" Chloe said, her voice softer now, almost pleading. "This isn't what you think. Daniel's just an old friend from college. We were catching up. That's all. There's nothing going on." "And old friend?" I repeated, my voice thick with sarcasm. "Funny how this old friend is sitting so close to you, he might as well be in your lap. Funny how you've been acting so secretive for weeks, Chloe. You expect me to believe this is innocent?" Her eyes darted to Daniel, almost as if she was looking for backup, but he just shrugged and stayed silent, clearly enjoying the spectacle. That glance, so quick, so subtle, was all I needed to confirm what I'd been dreading. She was hiding something, and Daniel knew it too. "I'm done playing games," I said, my voice firm now. "Chloe, you can either tell me the truth, or I'll start asking around. I'm sure someone at this party knows more than you're letting on." Her face paled, and for the first time that night I saw real fear in her eyes. "Mark, please, let's just leave. I'll explain everything at home." "No," I shot back. "You'll explain it now. Because if I walk out of here without answers, I'm not coming back." The room had gone quiet now, the other guests pretending not to listen, but clearly hanging on to every word. Chloe looked around, clearly trapped, her perfect facade crumbling under the weight of the truth. Finally she sighed, her shoulders slumping in defeat.
"Fine," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "but not here. Let's at least go somewhere private." I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Lead the way." She grabbed my hand, pulling me toward a side door that led to a small, empty lounge. The second the door closed behind us, I turned to face her, my arms crossed. "Start talking, and don't even think about lying to me again." Chloe paced the room, her heels clicking against the tile floor as she tried to gather her thoughts. Finally, she stopped and turned to me, her face a mixture of guilt and defiance. "Mark, I didn't mean for you to find out like this. I swear it's not what it looks like." "Then what is it?" I demanded. "Because right now it looks like you've been sneaking around behind my back with some guy who clearly isn't just an old friend." She hesitated, biting her lip, and for a moment I thought she might actually come clean. But instead, she said, "Daniel and I, we have history. But it's in the past. Nothing is happening between us now." "In the past?" I repeated, my voice laced with disbelief. "You conveniently forgot this history when you were hiding your texts and taking secret calls, Chloe. How stupid do you think I am?" She flinched at my words, but didn't deny it. "I didn't tell you because I knew you'd react like this. I knew you'd assume the worst." "Can you blame me?" I snapped. "You've been acting shady for weeks, Chloe. And now I find you here, lying about where you are, lying about who you're with. What exactly am I supposed to think?" She looked away, her jaw clenched as if she were trying to keep herself from saying something she'd regret. But her silence was louder than any confession she could have made. "Unbelievable," I said, shaking my head. "You're still not telling me the truth, are you?" "Mark, she started, but I cut her off. "Save it, Chloe. I'm done listening to your excuses. If you can't be honest with me, then maybe we're already past the point of fixing this." Her eyes widened,
And for the first time that night, I saw tears welling up. "Mark, please, just give me a chance to explain." But I was already walking toward the door, my chest tight with anger and betrayal. "I gave you a chance, Chloe, and you blew it." As I stepped out of the lounge, I felt the weight of the situation settle on my shoulders. Whatever was going on, it was bigger than I'd realized. And deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. As I stormed back into the main party, I could feel Chloe's desperate gaze on my back, but I didn't care anymore. I needed answers, and if she wouldn't give them to me, someone else would. Sophia was still lingering by the staircase, clearly uncomfortable. The moment she saw me, her eyes darted away. I marched straight up to her. "Sophia," I said sharply, "you knew. You knew something was going on, didn't you?" She looked flustered. "Mark, I don't know what you're talking about." "Cut the crap," I growled. "Why did you really invite Chloe tonight? And who the hell is Daniel to her?" Sophia hesitated, glancing toward Chloe, who was now trailing behind me, looking panicked. "It's not my place to say," she muttered, trying to slip away. I grabbed her arm, gently but now pale and visibly shaken. "So Daniel isn't just some old friend," I said, my voice low but sharp. "He's your ex, and you've been sneaking around meeting him behind my back." "It's not like that," Chloe stammered, her voice cracking. "I didn't mean to hide it, Mark. I didn't want to hurt you." "Hurt me?" I laughed bitterly. "Chloe, lying to me, sneaking off to secret parties with him, that is what hurts. What else are you hiding?" She hesitated, and that moment of silence felt like an eternity. "We ran into each other a few months ago," she admitted, barely audible. "He's been reaching out since then." I clenched my fists, the betrayal cutting deeper than I expected. "Reaching out?" I repeated. "And you didn't think to tell me? You thought this was okay?" "It was harmless," Chloe insisted, tears now streaming down her face. But nothing came out. I waited, hoping against hope for her to deny it, to tell me I was wrong, to fight for us. But she didn't. And that silence confirmed every fear I'd been trying to suppress. "Chloe," I said, my voice quieter now, the anger giving way to something colder. "Are you in love with him?" I needed to hear her say it. I needed her to look me in the eye and tell me the truth. She wiped her face, her hands shaking. "Mark, it's not like that," she whispered. "Then tell me what it is like," I demanded, stepping closer, "because right now it looks like you've been lying to me for months while reconnecting with someone you clearly haven't moved on from." She shook her head, her voice breaking. "I don't know how it happened. I didn't plan for this." "Didn't plan for what?" I snapped, the coldness giving way to a surge of anger. "Chloe, stop dodging the question. Tell me the truth. Have you been seeing him behind my back?" Her sobs grew louder, and she covered her face with her hands, as if trying to hide from the reality she had created. "We've only met a few times," she admitted, her voice muffled. "It wasn't supposed to mean anything. I didn't think it would get this far." "And yet here we are," I said bitterly, gesturing to the room, to the party, to Daniel, who was still lounging in his seat, watching us with a smirk look on his face. I turned my attention to him, unable to keep my anger in check any longer. "You," I said, my voice low and de-escalate. "Mark, stop! This isn't Daniel's fault." I stared at her, the words cutting deeper than any knife. "Not his fault, Chloe. He's the reason we're even having this conversation. He's the reason you've been lying to me." "No, Mark," she said, her voice shaking. "The reason is me. I let this happen. She stopped, her breath hitching as fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "You... what?" I pressed, my voice quieter now, almost pleading. "Chloe, if there's any chance of fixing this, I need to know the truth." Her next words came out in a choked whisper, but they hit me like a sledgehammer. I I still have feelings for him.
For a moment, the room seemed to tilt, the air sucked out of my lungs. I stared at her, unable to process what I just heard. "Think?" I said, my voice trembling, "or you know?" Chloe's silence was answer enough. The anger, the pain, the betrayal, it all boiled over, and I stepped back, running a hand through my hair as I tried to keep myself together. "You have feelings for him," I said slowly, trying to piece it together. "And instead of telling me, instead of being honest, you lied. You met with him. You let this happen." "It wasn't like that," she said, her voice breaking. "I didn't want to hurt you." "Well, congratulations, Chloe," I snapped, my voice finally breaking, "because you've done exactly that. You've hurt me more than I ever thought possible." She reached for me, but I stepped back, holding up a hand to stop her. "Don't," I said, my voice cold now. "Don't touch me. Don't say anything else. I need to get out of here." "Mark, please," she sobbed. "We can talk about this. We can work through this." But I couldn't. Not now. Maybe not ever. I turned and walked out of the lounge, past the guests who had pretended not to notice the argument, past Sophia, who looked like she wanted to sink into the floor, and out the front door. As I stepped into the cold night air, the gravity of what had just happened hit me like a ton of bricks. Chloe, the woman I trusted, the mother of my son, the person I built my life around, had betrayed me. And now, I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. My mind replayed the conversation with Chloe over and over, each word cutting deeper than the last. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I'd shared my life with, had blindsided me in the worst way possible. Eventually, the cold night air seeped through the car, reminding me that I couldn't sit there forever. I didn't know where to go, but I knew I couldn't go home. Not yet. Home was supposed to be my sanctuary, the place I felt safest. Now, the thought of stepping through that door filled me with dread. I started the car and drove aimlessly through the city, the streets eerily quiet at this hour. Memories of my life with Chloe flooded my mind, our first date, the day we got married, the moment we held Leo for the first time. How had we gone from that to this? How long had she been feeling this way? And how had I missed the signs? Eventually, I found myself parked outside Alex's apartment. He was one of the few people I could trust to tell me the harsh truth without sugarcoating it. I texted him, "Need to talk. Are you awake?" A reply came almost instantly. "Doors open." When I walked in, Alex took one look at me and knew something was wrong. "Man, you look like you've been through hell," he said, handing me a beer and motioning for me to sit down. "You don't know the half of it," I muttered, taking a long drink before telling him everything, from Chloe's lies to the party to Daniel's smug face to her crushing admission. By the time I finished, my voice was raw and my chest felt hollow. Alex let out a low whistle. "That's messed up, Mark. I mean, I knew something was off when I saw that photo, but this? I didn't think Chloe would pull something like this." "Neither did I," said bitterly. "But now I don't even know who she is anymore. And the worst part is I don't know what to do." Alex leaned back in his chair, his expression serious. "Look, man, I'm not going to tell you to pack your bags or fight for her. That's your call. But whatever you do, you need to figure it out fast. Not for her sake, for yours and Leo's. The longer you let this fester, the worse it'll get." I nodded, his words sinking in. He was right. I couldn't let this situation drag me down any further. I needed to confront it head on, not just for me, but for my son. Leo deserved better than a father who was too broken to function. The next morning, I went home. Chloe was sitting in the living room, her face puffy and red from crying. She looked up when I walked in, her eyes pleading. "Mark, please, can we talk?"
That they'd started talking just as friends. She claimed it had never gone beyond that. No physical affair, just an emotional one. But for me, that didn't make it any less painful. "You betrayed me," I said, my voice breaking. "Even if nothing happened, you let someone else into a part of your life that should have been mine. Do you even understand how that feels?" Tears streamed down her face. "Mark, I was wrong. I was selfish, and I didn't think about how much it would hurt you. But I love you. I love our family. Please, give me a chance to fix this." Her words felt hollow, like a plea from someone who only realized too late what they stood to lose. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that we could fix this, but a part of me couldn't shake the image of her laughing with Daniel, of the lies she told, of the distance she'd put between us. "I need time," I said finally. "I don't know if I can forgive this, but I need time to figure out if I even want to try." Chloe nodded, her shoulders shaking as she sobbed quietly. "Take all the time you need," she whispered. "I'll do whatever it takes to make this right." I walked out of the room, the weight of her words heavy on my shoulders. Could we fix this? Could I ever trust her again? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. The life we had before was gone, and whatever came next would never be the same. Over the next few weeks, the house was filled with an unbearable silence. Chloe and I spoke only when necessary, mostly about Leo. You thought you knew completely. One evening, after putting Leo to bed, Chloe approached me. "Mark, I know I don't deserve anything from you," she began, her voice trembling. "But I need to know, do we still have a chance?" I looked at her, the woman I had once loved with all my heart, and saw a stranger. "Chloe," I said, my voice calm but firm, "I've thought about this a lot, and the truth is, I can't move past this. I don't think I'll ever be able to trust you again." Her face crumpled, and she sank into the chair, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mark, I'll do anything to fix this," she pleaded. "I love you. I love Leo. Please, don't give up on us." "I'm not giving up," I replied, my voice steady. "But I can't stay in a marriage where I'm constantly wondering if you're being honest with me. It's not fair to either of us. And it's not the example I want to set for Leo." She nodded slowly, her sobs quieting as she processed my words. "So, what now?" she whispered. It was worth it. Leo was my priority, and I was determined to give him the stability he needed. Over time, the pain of Chloe's betrayal began to fade, replaced by a sense of clarity and strength. I focused on myself, working out, reconnecting with old friends, and even exploring hobbies I'd neglected during the marriage. It wasn't about forgetting Chloe. It was about rediscovering who I was without her. One day, while dropping Leo off at Chloe's, she stopped me at the door. "Mark, I just want you to know how sorry I am for everything. I'll regret what I did for the rest of my life." I nodded, appreciating the sincerity in her voice. "I hope you find peace, Chloe, for your sake, and Leo's." Driving away, I felt a strange sense of closure. Chloe's chapter in my life was over, but my story was far from finished. Months later, I met someone new, someone kind, honest, and with a light in their eyes that reminded me of what love should feel like. It wasn't instant, but it felt right. For the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful about the future. Looking back, Chloe's betrayal had shattered my world, but it had also forced me to rebuild it stronger. And as I stood on this new foundation, I realized that sometimes losing something you thought you couldn't live without is the only way to find out who you truly are.